Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela, all united as one, the dream of the man who liberated them from oppression but also failed to keep his dream alive. Simón Bolivar was born in Caracas, Venezuela, or what was then known as the Spanish colony of Captaincy General of Venezuela. His actions transformed the future of the Americas for years to come. Bolivar was born into a wealthy family. He formed part of the few wealthy new Creoles or Mantuanos of Caracas. Nevertheless, he still faced discrimination for being a criollo, a white person born in the Americas. His father was a sexual predator who accosted women in public places and attempted to rape his maids. He married Bolivar's mother, who was only 14 at the time, when a bishop encouraged him to wed in hopes of changing his lascivious ways. After his parents died when he was only 9 years old, his uncle Carlos Palacios ensured he received a proper education, and a black slave named Hipólita continued to care for him as a mother. Finally, after 2 years of private education, he followed his father's footsteps by enrolling in a military academy as a cadet. He graduated at age 19 and proceeded to continue his studies in Europe. In Spain, he had the opportunity to meet with illustrious intellectuals and members of the royal court. Like the American founding fathers, he studied the writings of English and French philosophers. During his stay in Europe, he witnessed Napoleon's rise to the throne. Bolivar realized he wanted to achieve glory just like the French emperor. He also met his first wife, Maria Teresa del Toro, but Maria Teresa fell ill and passed away soon after she arrived in Caracas. To lessen his grief, Bolivar decided to return to Europe to immerse himself into the intellectual and political world he had found so stimulating. Although he suffered throughout most of his early years, the knowledge he gained, in addition to his desire to follow the footsteps of Napoleon, prompted him to become the leader we know today. Prior to his return from London, to gain recognition and support for the movement, he recruited Francisco de Miranda, a famous revolutionary, to lead Venezuela to independence. In March 1812, a constitution was drafted and Venezuela became the first colony to break free from the Spanish Empire. But this movement never achieved its full potential as the Spanish quickly took control of the situation. But Bolivar would not give up so easily. As an advocate for independence, Bolivar traveled to New Granada to support newly formed independence movements. After failing to secure independence again in both New Granada and Venezuela, he exiled in Jamaica. While in Jamaica, he wrote the letter to Henry Cullen, a settler of the island. In this well-known document, Bolivar speculates the future of the Americas and emphasizes the value of unity and cooperation between all Americas. New Granada will unite with Venezuela if they can agree to the establishment of a central republic. Their capital may be Maracaibo, or a new city to be named Las Casas, to be built on the borders of the two countries in the excellent port area Bahia Honda. This location, though little known, is the most advantaged in all respects. It is readily accessible, and its situation is so strategic that it can be made impregnable. It has a fine, healthful climate, a soil suitable for agriculture as for cattle raising, and a superabundance of good timber. The Indians living there can be civilized, and our territorial possessions could be increased with the acquisition of Guajira Peninsula. This nation should be called Colombia as a just and grateful tribute to the discoverers of our hemisphere. Its government might follow the English pattern, except that in place of a king there will be an executive who will be elective at most for life, but his office will never be hereditary if a republic is desired. There will be hereditary legislative chamber or senate. This body can interpose itself between the violent demands of the people and the great powers of the government during periods of political unrest. The second representative body will be a legislature with restrictions no greater than the lower house in England. The Constitution will draw on the systems of the government, but I do not want it to partake in all of their vices. As Colombia is my country, I have an indisputable right to desire for her that form of government which, in my opinion, is best. It is very possible that New Granada may not even care to recognize the central government because she is greatly addicted to federalism. In such event, she will form a separate state, which, if she endures, may prosper because of its great and varied resources.